Okay. I'm going sideways, so trying something different angle. Anyway, hey, it's Vanjie, and it is Tuesday, Taco Tuesdays, and I wanted to talk to you today about race and racism in the United States. So when I was with the Diversity Council here in Rochester, I used to do workshops for students from kindergarten to adults. And it was on prejudice reduction. Prejudice reduction that the Diversity Council had been doing for decades, since the 80s. And I went to one community meeting to organize some kind of event. And the lead organizer was from a local educational institution. And they automatically assumed my gender, my race, my age, and my educational level. And I'm telling you this because I wanted you to understand what institutional racism is and what people of color can't encounter on a regular basis. And it is insidious, especially in professional settings. I've had folks assume my white coworkers was the person in charge, and I've been directed to a training for new housekeepers at a hotel instead of the training I was leading for a local agency staff. I've had several people tell me how well-spoken and eloquent I am, but not to my white co-facilitator, who was probably just as eloquent and well-spoken. These are just a handful of incidents I've encountered in my many years here in Rochester in Minnesota. If you're not well trained in noticing these microaggressions, you'd assume these folks were well-meaning or plain ignorant. Sure, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I do not hate white people. It seems that advocating for treating people of color with a minimal amount of dignity and respect somehow automatically makes me hate white people. What if I said I have many white friends? Of course, I don't hate white people. Does that sound as ridiculous as I think it does? Reverse racism isn't real. I am a topic expert on race and racism. I've been studying it and teaching it for over 15 years. And I've even charged people to come to their workplace to tell them that they have white privilege and why. So let me educate you today a little bit for free. Structural racism in the U.S. is the normalization and legitimization of an array of dynamics: historical, cultural, institutional, interpersonal, that routinely advantage whites while producing cumulative and chronic adverse outcomes for people of color. It is a system of hierarchy and inequity, primarily characterized by white supremacy. The preferential treatment, privilege, and power for white people at the expense of Black, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, Native American, Arab, and other racially oppressed people. Keith Lawrence and Terry Keleher. The communities that are most affected by the coronavirus are communities of color. People who are allegedly murdered or called on by the police for minor infractions are predominantly people of color. Communities that experience environmental injustice are communities of color. Racism in this country is fucking ugly. It is also learned, and we are able to unlearn it. But we need to work at unlearning it every single day. And how do we do that? Well, if you're a person who is white, you start by checking yourself and your own racism. And let's begin there. Be well, stay safe, take care. Bye.